or a lot of days for me, and it's getting better now. But when I first started, the biggest challenges were the dark places that your mind just takes you to. And it sometimes it's still triggered. Sometimes even the little comments that I make light of, some of my friends will say something to me and I get quiet and it's hard to deal with. So I want to raise awareness of the struggles that we go through.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bowen, and today I welcome Tom Jalinski. At age 32, he was living the dream. After a successful career in construction, Tom retired early, having built a business that granted him the freedom to shape his life on his own terms. With his children nearly finished with high school, he fully embraced the outdoors, hiking, rock climbing, and backpacking through breathtaking landscapes. But an unexpected illness quickly spiraled into an unexpected battle, turning his world upside down. And we're going to get into that today on the We're Not Stumped podcast and a lot more, I'm sure. But first of all, Tom, I want to thank you for taking your time to be on the We're Not Stumped podcast.
Of course, Mike, and I want to thank you for having me. I am really looking forward to the opportunity.
Well, I'm really looking forward to learning what you're going to be doing here in the not so distant future. It's going to be quite a trek. But we always start the podcast with a segment I call In Your Own Words. So I'd love the audience to learn more about you.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, the age that you started at 32 was my journey into some really hard illnesses to overcome. It showed itself first as random infections, which quickly became known as osteomyelitis, which is bone infection. And I might be wrong. Some doctors don't agree with me, but from what I found, the only cure for osteomyelitis is amputation. Of course, amputation's not a cure for anything. It leaves you incomplete. So years of struggle through that. And it brings me to the point I'm 59 years old now. I've had 2 heart attacks. I've had bypass surgery because of the vascular issues. Uh, Actually, my bypass surgery is just a little over a year ago, last January, or year from January. Um, and I finally got myself to the point I can recover. And I feel like I can get back outside and enjoy the things that I used to enjoy, or at least some of the things that I used to enjoy. So that has me taking on this challenge and really hoping to inspire people, not just amputees, anybody who's dealing with an incurable condition. It's really sometimes we're in really dark places, and going through this sort of thing in our mind is the biggest challenge. So now that I don't want to downplay the battle, but I was in survival mode during that time. I really didn't experience much of the darkness. There were times, but I but the biggest challenges for me are what I have to live with now. After going through 17 amputations to get to this point, I'm a a left below the knee amputee and a right TMA amputee. And it's just incredible that I'm even here with some of the vascular issues and that I can feel this good right now. I mean, it's really just, I feel like I can take this challenge on with confidence. So.
I'd like to hear more about that challenge. I was going to bring it up a little later, but it's very exciting, and that's how when we kind of met, I was reading about this, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to read it though. In April, you're going to start traversing the Ice Age National Scenic Trail, which is 1,200 miles on a 6-month long hike. Wow, what does that mean to you to do that?
Well, for me, it's picking up on a dream that I had basically in my 30s, right after I started going through this journey. I fell back to, I was raised in Wisconsin. I fell back to some of the stuff instead of traveling all over the country and rock climbing and mountaineering. I used the Ice Age Trail and other recreational trails in Wisconsin as kind of my getaway and my safe place. But back then, the Ice Age Trail was barely developed. There were places like the Devil's Lake segment that were developed, and some of the Lodi segments, some of the areas that were developed, I pretty much trekked before, but we're looking at 20 years ago already. So now they have a lot of it. Over 700 miles of it are developed through wilderness areas, and then the other basically 500 miles of it off are road connectors, which I plan on walking the entire thing. But I'm really looking forward to being able to pick up that dream, or that was one of my goals, was to hike it in segments, and I'm going to hike this over 6 month period in segments. Um, so I really am looking forward to this opportunity. Now, the Ice Age Trail, um, in its development over the last, I think they started in the 1950s. The idea came about. Um, but I remember going to meetings for it while I lived in Wisconsin, and it was barely developed. So we had talked about they were talking about. I wasn't really involved. I was a spectator and somebody who was an hiking enthusiast that really wanted to get on and was really excited about the backpacking and that. Now, I'd been on the Appalachian Trail before, and I never through hiked that, but I hiked segments. Actually, I fell in love with the Smoky Mountains, so I can't tell you how many times I hiked in that area. But I really wanted to see this trail get developed, and I really was enthusiastic about it. During my illness, I kind of lost that way. So this challenge is something I'm really looking forward to getting back to. Now it's way more developed than it was. Each segment of the trail is governed by or overseen by volunteers. So my plan is in April to start they call it the Rock County segment. Um, that goes through Janesville and Milton and parts of Greene County. They actually are in charge of maintaining and keeping up 64 miles of trail. And they have a checklist that I can go through and I fill out myself, and I'm just going to document it with them, but I'm documenting it live the whole way too. I'll be posting that on social media, and hopefully, and the Ice Age Trail is already aware of this. They're looking forward to seeing some of that. And so I'm going to go segment by segment. The reason I'm starting there is it's the southernmost part of the trail. There's still snow in Wisconsin right now. Quite a bit of snow in northern Wisconsin. I think they just got 6 inches last Friday. So I'm going to avoid the snow, even though I'm from Wisconsin, and in my mountaineering days, it didn't bother me at all. But I'm not planning on strapping on the crampons or anything, or getting back to the mountaineering days. Planning on utilizing the weather and avoiding mosquitoes. Them are, to me, being from Wisconsin, them are the bigger challenges. So yeah,
I can
so
imagine.
it's a continuation of a dream that I started on 20 years ago.
I want to let everyone know too, you can be found on freefunder.com. I would imagine if they just looked up your name, Tom Jalinski, which is Jalinski, they'd be able to find you and help support what you're trying to do, because you're trying to do it for others within the limb loss community. Is that correct? Others, I
That's
guess, beyond that too. I apologize.
Yeah, that's right. I want to raise awareness for the struggles that we look at, and for not just the limb loss community, for anybody that has an incurable condition. So we have to look at our life and approach things differently. And some days, or a lot of days for me, and it's getting better now, but when I first started, the biggest challenges were the dark places that your mind just takes you to. And it sometimes it's still triggered. Sometimes even the little comments that I make light of, some of my friends will say something to me, and I get quiet, and it's hard to deal with. So I want to raise awareness of the struggles that we go through. And I think it crosses into a community of people um, that are suffering with incurable conditions.
And you said you're going to be posting this to social. How?
Yeah, I have. If you search Tom Jalinski on Facebook, I
Okay.
have I have a Facebook account. I actually have a amputee support group on Facebook and an amputee support page on Facebook. The support difference being the group is private, the
Yeah.
page is public. Um, and and then I'm on Instagram. You can find me under Tom Jalinski on Instagram. I actually publish some articles in Medium. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll be publishing to that too. And again, just under my name, Tom Jalinski. And I'm planning on starting to work with TikTok and Snapchat, even though I haven't delved into them areas. I just started posting some of the videos on YouTube. It every one of them accounts are set up in my, so people can find it that way.
Yeah, set up in your name. That's great. Now, since I'm an upper amputee or limb loss person, and I'm not a lower, I want to know if there's anything special prosthetic wise that you're using to be able to do this trek, or is it your everyday prosthetics?
No, it's my everyday prosthetics. So I have a prosthetist that I've been working with just for about 8 or 9 months now. So the latest saga in my healthcare journey, uh, a year ago when I went through my coronary bypass surgery, we discovered them clogged arteries because of the clogged arteries in my legs. So my prosthetist that I'd used for, I think, about 10 years at that point said to me, I can't do anything to help you until this heals up. Well, as it unfolded and I seen it was going to be quite a period of time, I gave my, when you break up with a prosthetist, it's like a relationship.
Hmm.
It's one of them. We trusted each other. We leaned on each other. It goes a little bit beyond my other care providers. I never had trouble looking for other care providers or second opinions, except for with prosthetists, especially when I liked them. And so I had to break up with my prosthetist because that just wasn't acceptable to me. And I met a person who is doing my prosthetic limbs now, and is working with me to get through. I still have the remnants of an ulcer that developed almost 2 years ago. Um, and we're only about a week and a half away from healing it. But if not for the vacuum, he moved me into the suction type, which has been therapeutic, prosthetic, and he offloaded everything. So I have a new foot coming. The good news is a high performance foot. The one I'm using is about 6 years old. Fantastic when I got it. Again, like I said, my old prosthetist knew how active I was. I was still working in construction 6 years ago and walking on rough ground. If this foot were new, it would have been perfect for this, but they have better feet now. So that's really the only thing that I'm doing that is special is the foot that I'm getting, and we're preparing for this hike. And I do have two prosthetic devices now. One is a socketless prosthetic that I can't use right now because there was no good way to offload this. And then the other one is the vacuum type prosthetic that is really comfortable, but it's pretty heavy. So I'm looking forward to being able to use both of them.
There may be some people that are going through their own journey right now with their prosthetics, whether it be brand new or maybe they're at a crossroads with their own prosthetist. Do you have any advice you would give someone if they were going through this very early on from your own
Well,
experience?
for I guess for everybody, pain isn't normal. Uncomfortable is. I mean, sometimes uncomfortable is just because of the inflammation or anything. You might have it turned a little bit. You might have, it probably is going to get better that day, and it might not. It might cause pain. You might need to take a break. You have to really listen to your body. So that's just kind of for everybody the way I see it. I still have trouble with that sometimes. I put it on, it's a little uncomfortable. I'm like, it's going to be better. And in 2 hours, I have hot spots. My legs screaming at me, and I need to stop and readjust and reevaluate. For somebody new, pain uh, pain is normal. Really work closely with your provider. Take their advice. You need to get into it slowly. This is something I didn't do. I had my prosthetic. Um, I felt like I'd been off my feet for felt like 10 years. And it felt so good to be on my feet. My original prosthetist told me just a couple hours a day. Now, a couple hours turned into 10 the first day. And I just kept building on
Wow.
that. You know, I was actually ice skating at I took the grandkids ice skating at a hockey rink the Saturday after I got my prosthetic, the first Saturday that I could get away and go. And I was the skater. I grew up playing hockey, so I was teaching them how that kind of stuff is insane. You shouldn't do that to yourself. I ended up paying for that and getting some sores and some really just kind of areas that turned into small blisters, but which were easy to heal. But the dry skin that kind of resulted lasted for months and months and months. And keeping that skin healthy, if you're a new prosthetist user, avoiding them sores and keeping that skin healthy is going to pay dividends in the future. It's really hard to heal stuff like that up. So, that is the concern.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. There's a couple things though you had talked about that I thought was interesting, or you said two different things, and it seemed like they were both goal oriented. Number one is ice skating as quickly as you did, and number two, certainly the walk you're going to do. How important are goals as you continue to live your life and improve?
Actually, I would say in my 30s I was ba- the definition of a free spirit. Goals weren't I had goals, but they could wait. If I literally there were times when I was rock climbing in New York and I'd get a call from friends of mine that were like, we're going to meet at Rocky Mountain National Park and go for a hike or go. I'd jump in my car and I'd meet them there. So it was a free spirit more. But lately, going through this illness and getting through the basic care I needed for the vascular issues, goals have become like one of the centers of my life. It is very important for me to reach them goals and to stay focused on the perseverance that it takes, especially as I'm trying to heal. Sometimes the pain might be one of the problems from my leg, but sometimes the other problems I'm having is just general discomfort, or I'm a little winded that day. I need to be mindful of all them things. And I need to be, in order to feel good about myself or to keep myself in a brighter spot, I need to really be able to be positive and look forward to even the next hour sometimes. I need to rest now so I could possibly carry on in an hour. I need to rest now so I can start up again tomorrow. So goals have become the center. That's really what keeps me driving or being able to persevere.
Yeah, I want to say too that I want to remind everyone I'm on with Tom Jalinski, and he is going to be, I want to make sure I get this, traversing Ice Age National Scenic Trail starting in April, and it's 1,200 miles, 6 months long. If you want to find out more about him, he's on Medium, as you said. I've read quite a bit about you there too. But go to Free Funder and learn more about him there. I was also wanting to ask you too, is I read, and it may have been in Medium, and I apologize, or it might have been on your Free Funder, that you had done the math of, hey, back in the day, I'd be able to do X amount of miles a day, and then today I'm more like this. How did that play into your goals as far as how long it was going to take for you to get done?
It still weighs it still weighs on me as I'm training it's one of the things that makes me wonder sometimes, and it wants to take me to them dark places on the days that I'm struggling. On the days I'm doing good, I'm like, this is no problem. And then like to even push my training, but I want to live to another day. So it really keeps focus on the training routine. Most days I feel like I'm going to be able to overachieve and get this done, get this done sooner than the 6 month time frame that I set aside for it. But it, on the other hand, one of the biggest hurdles that we need to overcome as everybody in our situation with these incurable conditions, I have expectations that date back to, and this is sort of alludes to that. And I think it was the spirit of me writing that. I have expectations of myself, and when you need to back them off, at least it causes me a lot of pain, a lot of, you know, so I'm trying to move ahead and establish realistic goals. I want this to be a challenge, but I want it to be within my reach. So I base these goals on my training, and and I but I'm counting on some unknowns, like this sore continuing to actually heal. Now the other 6 sores that I had on my leg from this have healed.
Okay.
We've gotten beyond that. They stay healed. They're not even in danger of getting infected, or, the skin is healed. But that's one of the things that, even though it looks really good and it has for months, and we've been progressing, is an unknown. The other things that are unknowns are, how do the vascular issues in my legs stand up to the nobody can answer that for me. My vascular surgeon has 2 legs, and he hasn't had to wear he's done plenty of surgeries that have resulted in needing these devices, but he has never had to wear them. So he's very honest with me. He just tells me, I don't know, in theory this is really good for you, but we don't know how we're going to react, or how the skin's going to hold up. So there's a lot of times that it actually outlines the need for perseverance, brings back the sort of free spirit. Hey, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to count on my determination. And then that's in a lot of ways dangerous, to be too determined in that. So it keeps me really pretty grounded, and aware that I need to be careful.
Do you have a day in particular that you're looking to start?
I don't right
Okay.
now. And I've contacted the Ice Age Trail, and we've laid out the route and where I'm planning to start. It's called the eastern terminus of the part they manage is called the Devil's Staircase Trail, and that's only about a 2 mile long trail. I'm planning on starting there, and I hope that it sounds like we're going to be able to kick that off with a little event when I get there. So I'm going to be deciding that more than I more than likely the first or second of next month. I have an amputee support meeting that I administer a group, in-person group in Springfield, and we're going to do that on the 9th. We have meetings the second Wednesday of every month, and I'm hoping to get there actually that weekend, but I haven't finalized that yet. So
If people want to find out more about that group you put together, they just find you on Facebook and they can ask to maybe join. And whereabouts is it? You said you're in Wisconsin still, is that correct?
no, I live in Central Illinois
Oh,
now.
I apologize. Okay.
So yeah. So this is in Springfield, Illinois.
Okay.
It's a new group, and the best way to get information about that is Facebook or Instagram. And I just started publishing again today. Every time we get within 2 weeks, I just start putting the flyer up for people to see in that. Um, and then if they have any questions, it has my all of my contact information on it. They feel free to call, or however they'd like to get a hold of me. And and the only caveat to that is my voicemail's full on my phone because I'm just rotten at returning messages. Text works great.
I hear you.
Oh, voice messages I'm terrible about. I listen to them when I'm doing other things, and then they just don't stick in my it's just they don't stick in my brain. I say that just as often as I can because I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them.
Yeah.
So I leave that full so that option's not there.
What inspired you to start the support group? Was there, I don't want to say a lack of some where you're at, or you just wanted to do it a little differently than others?
Yeah, both in a way, but uh, so when I say in a way, I mean that exactly. I'm a member of a support group in Quincy. So I live right in between Quincy, Illinois and Springfield, Illinois. My prosthetic care is in Springfield now. It was in Quincy before. And I'm in a group in Quincy and we get together and we have dinner and it's really informal. It's not laid out. We meet at a different restaurant in the area every month and we just get together as amputees and just have a real informal talk. Now, the one that I've organized in Springfield isn't much different than that, except we have a set place that we get together. My prosthetist sponsors the meals, so he brings in food for us. He's not involved in the group at all. He just other than that, so he's not really doing it for commercial reasons. He's not really doing anything else but that. He he encouraged me. I talked to him doing this, and he encouraged me, and that's exactly what brought on the. I'll sponsor some meals and some. We sit around in this set space, and I kind of lead a little bit of discussion. We get to tell our story. We get to talk about our frustrations, and there's a little bit of structure. But if we have somebody who shows up new and they're comfortable, and they want to talk about their story, we'll give them we get together for about 45 minutes. We'll give them with the group involvement pretty much the whole thing. So it really is informal still. It carries that more open discussion, but a little bit more structured than the one I'm involved with in Quincy. Now I'm not complaining at all about the one in Quincy. It's really awesome. Most people love it. We've only had a few people complain that they want it to be more structured. We're not planning on changing that. So, so
Well, that's great that you've done that. That's I just think it's fantastic that you started one in another area. Maybe make it easier for other people to get there. So that's great that you did that. I didn't read that. I'm surprised of all the things I read. I did not read that.
it,
So
so we just had our first meeting last month. So
okay,
that's something that is new.
yeah,
Again, it fits in with what I want to do. I really do want to connect with other amputees for myself and for others, and I really want to help everybody that I can navigate this journey. So,
and that's the goal of your hike,
yes,
awareness and
yes,
helping.
awareness and help. I want people to I want people to be inspired. I went to the National Amputee Coalition back in 2018, and there was a group of people there that were disappointed. The National Amputee Coalition, it's an incredible event. I don't know if you've been there or not with your limb
One
difference,
time,
but
one time.
yeah, it's an incredible event. There's a lot of things going on there. There's a lot to learn. I'd recommend it I only went one time. I wouldn't go necessarily go year after year. But there was a group of amputees that I sat and had lunch with who were really in their more darker spot at that for one of the lunches. And they were discouraged by all of the upbeat stuff and that. I really want the people that everybody I'm talking to, I really want to reach out to them people too and make it clear that I still and I have gone through the reason that I even was at that meeting is because my wife told me you're going to have to do something different or you're going to be on your own. And she found the support groups and she helped me get over the anger and the disappointment and the things I needed to get over with this change in my life. So I think we've all been there. We've all I think we still are there from time. So,
Yeah, I like how you said that though. Like we all go through it, and
yeah.
what you're doing is trying to create awareness and let people know that there could be another side. There is another side, especially if they continue to work and throw on their prosthetics and go skating shortly afterwards. Go hike the Ice National Trail. Wow, or Scenic Trail.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
So I want.
I'm looking for amputees or others, even able-bodied people, that especially people that are suffering from these conditions, I'm just going to call them, but we can extend that to health issues, incurable health issues, to come along with me on segment. I'm going to be, I'm not going to do any of this off the cuff, or at least I'm going to try not to. I might. My mom's living in Wisconsin. I might hike a little bit of it, just when I'm going to visit or something like that. But so, and my mom will be somebody who I'm sure is going to join me on some of these segments. But
Wow.
I'm encouraging others, and I'm going to try to have this out there ahead of time, at least a week ahead of time on my social media to say, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this. I'd love for you to join, get a hold of me on my phone or whatever, even if you could do it for 45 minutes or an hour, just parts of it. So we can encourage each other.
I'm looking forward to keeping up with it. And if anyone else wants to, look up Tom Jalinski on all his social media, including, you said, YouTube as well. You're going to have, I'm sure there's going to be beautiful scenic views, and
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'll try to keep everyone updated too, if you don't mind, through the podcast, and
No.
let everyone know how you're doing. But all these links will be in the description. I just wanted to make sure that if people are just listening, that they know how to get a hold of you and find you. And because I'm looking forward to keeping up with this. This is a big deal for me, and it should be a big deal for everyone within the community. And Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the We're Not Some podcast. Your story is quite amazing, and I really admire that you continue to move forward. You tell you tell the truth. You talk about your dark places. You talk about some of the struggles, but I really like you're talking about some of your successes, and I can't wait to see your trail hike be a success as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if I can leave the idea with anybody, there were a lot of times during my struggles with my health and that I really there were real small victories I had to stand on to be able to get to the more positive places that, when things are the darkest, there's still small wins, and we need to, recognize them. So,
Yeah, that's a great point. Put those little victories and make sure you celebrate them.
yeah, yeah, they're the important things. So,
Perfect. That's a great. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
well, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the We're Not Stumped podcast. I have an ask for everyone that got to this point of the podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. The reason is simple. These stories need to be shared. It would help it to get out there to the people that really need to hear these stories.